Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 5, and today's video is going to be my labor and delivery story. As always, if you're new here, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. For my labor and delivery, it was a little bit different. I did take the midwife route and induce my own labor. If you want to, I did make a video on that. If you guys are interested in that, you can definitely check that out. But yeah, I did induce my own labor, so it was a little bit different for me. Before, I ordered the ingredients for the midwife brew through the Walmart grocery delivery, and in the morning they came in very early, around 8 in the morning, because I knew I wanted to take this as early as possible because my husband was at work. My husband works about 40-45 minutes from where we live. I had everything planned out, like, okay, I'm gonna take it at this certain time, and my husband has, this much time to come home and we can make it to the hospital. My hospital is 2 hours away from where we live, right? So for us to get to the hospital, it was gonna be quite a drive. So I didn't want to be with a lot of contractions, or my contractions coming too fast and then me having to deliver in the car or something like that. So yeah, I did, I had everything, I had everything planned out in my mind. This is not the first time that I take the midwife brew. I've taken it before my last pregnancy and it worked for me. I would definitely say to do your own research on it. It's up to you. I did get the okay from my doctor to do so. I talked to her and she was okay with it. Keep in mind that I did have contractions prior to this, like days before. I had contractions for like quite a few days, but they weren't progressing anything. They were very painful. Like the contractions that I was having were very painful, to the point that I couldn't, I just wanted to lay down, and they were so painful. And when I had my 37-week appointment, I went in, I told my doctor, I talked to my doctor and I told her, hey, okay, I'm having these contractions and they're not progressing. And then she was like, okay, do you want me to check you? And I was like, yeah. She had checked me the week before on my 36-week appointment, and I was 1 centimeter dilated then. She checked me again and I was still 1 centimeter dilated, which was, for me, was no progression at all. So she decided to hook me up to the monitor. We did that, and again, I was having contractions. She was seeing them on the monitor. They were very strong and they were just not progressing. So I was like, okay, I am 37 weeks. My doctor, the place where I go, once you're 37 weeks, they're considering you full term. I know some places don't. Some places wait to 38. Some say 39. Just at my clinic specifically, it's 37 weeks. I told her, is there anything I can do to try and get everything moving? And she said, I can do a membrane sweep. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And then so she decided she was gonna check me. They did a quick ultrasound at the clinic, and just to make sure that the baby was head down and everything. She was, and she did say that my placenta was aging, so that she needed to induce me. We already had an induction day for 39 weeks, but because of my placenta aging so soon, we decided to go ahead and schedule for 38 weeks. But I knew for sure that I did not want to get medically induced. That's not the route I wanted to go. If I had to be induced, I wanted to do it my way, and the way that I knew worked was the midwife brew. So I talked to her and I told her, okay, what if I do the midwife brew? And she said, okay, it's definitely on you. You have, you're okay, you're all clear, your baby's healthy, you're healthy, you're clear to start self-inducing. And I was like, okay, then I'm gonna do the midwife brew. We have midwives and we have doctors at my clinic, and they just I don't think she believes in the midwife brew. She didn't think it was gonna work. It obviously did. So she's like, okay, you're all clear, you're healthy, the baby's healthy, you can start your start trying methods of self-induction. So I did. I got the all clear from her. I went ahead and did the midwife brew. I took it around 2 p.m. and I just went about my day, cleaning, doing chores, just trying to get the contractions, to get a little bit stronger. I want to say around 4:30, 4:30, I started feeling some more contractions, but they weren't really contractions. They were more like Braxton Hicks. I could feel the tightening around my stomach, and I knew, like, when those started, I was like, okay, these are it. Like, I'm gonna like text my husband, tell him that I'm having contractions. I texted my husband and I was like, okay, I think I'm having contractions. I think we're gonna have a baby today. And he's like, okay, do you want me to go right now? And I was like, no, don't come right now. Like, like, you can finish working. I know I still have some time. I'm gonna get my things ready, get the kids ready, just to go, just in case they do progress. I went ahead, got the kids ready, I bathed the kids, I gave them a shower, got myself ready. I got, like, just made sure I had everything that I needed to go to the hospital again. Again, just because we are 2 hours away from my hospital, I needed to make sure that I took everything that I needed. And, I just kind of waited it out. My husband got home around 6. He got home, and my husband, as soon as he came, it was so funny because as soon as he came home, he went straight for the shower. He took a shower and he was like, let's go. And I was like, no, not yet. I was like, I'm not ready yet. Like, like, they weren't hurting. Like, I was getting contractions, they just weren't hurting. They were just like, I just felt so much tightening around my my stomach. So to my husband, no, I'm not ready yet. We're gonna, wait it out a little bit more. He was like, but if you wait it out, you're like, why do we don't make it to the hospital? I was like, they're not hurting yet. Like, at this point, my contractions were like every 15 minutes. They weren't even close enough for me to go to the hospital, So, I sent him to the store. I just needed him to get out the house to give me one more time because he was ready to go. So I was like, okay, can you go to the store and buy our son some shoes? Because my 3-year-old had lost his shoes, so he needed shoes. And that was the perfect excuse to send my husband to the store to give me some more time because he was ready to leave the house. He went to the store, he came back. I was still taking my sweet time, and he was like, let's go, like, you're gonna have this baby. So we ended up leaving the house around 7:30ish to drop off my kids with the people that were gonna watch them, and we're on the road to our hospital around, I want to say it was around 8 o'clock when we were heading to the hospital, right? I told my husband, oh, okay, can we stop and get something to eat before I get to the hospital? Because I know for a fact that once I get to the hospital, they're not gonna let me eat anything. He was like, yeah, okay, let's go. We went and we got some tacos. Of course, priorities, right? We got back on the road around 8:40, 8:40ish it was, around this time. So we got our tacos, got back on the road, we're headed to the hospital. I told my husband, I was like, did you let your boss know that you're not gonna be able to go to work because I'm having a baby? And he was like, okay, I'm gonna call him right now. But my husband was, at this point, he really wasn't, like, he was starting to believe that I wasn't in labor. I knew I was having the contractions. I knew I wasn't in labor. My husband didn't believe it because I was just so calm, and like, like, my contractions at this point were non-existent. Like, they were really, what would you call it? Like, they didn't hurt at all. Like, seriously, they didn't hurt. I felt the tightening, they just didn't hurt. And my husband was trying to believe that I wasn't in labor, right? So he calls his boss and was like, hey, I'm not gonna go to work tomorrow because, I'm headed to the hospital. His boss already knew I was having a baby. So he was like, hey, congratulations. Like, I hope everything goes well. And like, he was on the phone with his boss. I got the strongest contraction. Like, it hurt. Like, that was the first one that actually hurt. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is real. Like, that's when it hit me. Like, this is real. This is happening. I let him finish talking on the phone, and he got off the phone, and I was like, I got a contraction. He was like, are you still getting them? And I was like, yeah, I just got another contraction. But I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to make sure, like, because even though I knew I was in labor, I still couldn't believe it. So we get off the freeway, and we had to get to our hospital, we have to go through this town. So we get off the freeway and we get to this town, and it just happens that my husband caught the traffic. There was traffic up ahead, and my husband caught it like right before we got to the last intersection before getting to the traffic. And he was like, oh, we're just gonna cut through here, like, we'll go around. And I was like, okay. So he went around the traffic, and I got another contraction. This time, like, I got another strong contraction, and it hurt so much. And I was on the phone with my daughter when I was getting the contraction, and I was like, because I couldn't talk. That's how painful it was. I couldn't talk. And I told my husband, I was like, okay, these contractions are starting to hurt. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, okay, well, if they keep going like that, we can go to the hospital that's right here. It's like, no, just keep going to our hospital. Not even 2 minutes went by when I got another contraction. That's 2 minutes. Like, they're getting so much closer. And, another 2 minutes, another contraction just as strong. And I told my husband, okay, I was like, okay, like, these contractions are like every two, like, the last, I had maybe like, I want to say like 5 or 6 contractions within like the 2 minute, like, which were 2 minutes apart. And I told my husband, like, these contractions are getting 2 minutes apart, they're getting closer, and they're getting worse. Like, the pain level was worse. Like, they just hurt so much. Take your time. Like I don't want to get there and like have them send me back because I'm not ready. Like, that was still my fear. Like, I knew I was in labor, but I was still scared that they were gonna send me back. And our plan was that we were gonna get a hotel room. We were gonna get a hotel room just in case I wasn't in labor yet. We were gonna get a hotel room and then go to the hospital once I was ready. I want to say that we had like 30 minutes left into our drive, and my contractions, which they were getting so much worse. Like, they just hurt it so much. And I told my husband, like, okay. And then I needed to use the bathroom. Like, I needed to go pee so bad. That wasn't helping the fact that I was having so many painful contractions. I was like, please just hurry up and get to the hospital. Like, I want to get there as fast as possible. My contractions are hurting. And my husband's like, okay, I'm trying to get there as soon as I can. We finally get to the hospital around 10:30. We get off, my husband gets our bags, and we, like, keep in mind, like, we had to bring everything with us, car seat, bags, everything that we had to bring it up, because once we were in the hospital, we weren't allowed to leave. And we carry everything, and we walk to the door that they told us to go through, and turns out the door was closed because it was past 9 p.m. when they closed the doors. So we have to walk all the way to the front entrance. We get in, and I'm on my way there, like, I'm having contractions, and I'm having to stop every few minutes to like lean on something or grab onto something because my contractions were just so strong. We get into the entrance of the hospital, and they have us like once you get into the hospital, you have to social distance, so you have to like stay 6 feet apart. So like we're social distancing, and we get to the hospital, we get to the front, we check in, and they take our temperatures. We're fine. They let us go up to labor and delivery. We go up. I have to check in again with labor and delivery, and like my contractions were so strong. They were just asking me questions about COVID, like about COVID symptoms. And then she was like, okay, you can go ahead and wait in the waiting area. They're gonna come get you to get you tested and then pass you to triage. And I was like, okay. So they take my husband to my triage room where they were gonna take my, like, hook me up to the monitor and everything. And they take me to the room next door where they're testing for COVID-19. They do my COVID test. A lot of people actually say it's painful. It's not painful. I don't believe it was. I just think it's very uncomfortable. It's like you have the sensation like you want to cough or you want to sneeze. I didn't. It's just when I went in the room, I remember the lady saying, like, I had my mask on and everything. She was like, okay, you can remove your mask and sit in that little chair. And they sat me in this chair, and then she was like, can you sit on your hands? And I was like my hands? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, why? And then she was like, oh, that's just from like keeping you from like your reflexes from like trying to hit me or trying to grab my hand or something. And I was like, people actually do that? And she was like, yeah, some people actually try to hit me to, like, that's just the reflex to hit people. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, they had me sit on my hands, and they went ahead and swabbed my nose, and that was it. So they had to go ahead and run that. So while they were running those tests, they passed me to my room, to my triage room. The nurse gave me the gown, had me go in the restroom. I went in the restroom, and I went to the restroom, and I saw that I had some like bloody show. So I come back out and sit down on the bed, and I told her, I was like, oh, like, I think I had some bleeding. Like, is that normal? And she goes, oh yes, that's just your cervix going through some changes. Like, you're fine. It's like, okay. So she hooks me up to the monitor, leaves the room, and comes back, like, not even, I swear to you, not even 5 minutes later, she came back in, and she was like, we're having a baby today. Your contractions are so close together. Like, you're definitely in labor. She was like, are you going to get the epidural? And I was like, yes, please. Like I need it. I need the epidural. I knew, like, in my mind, I knew that I wanted the epidural, right? So the doctor comes in, and she was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and wait for your COVID test to come back and to order your epidural. She was like, we're gonna go ahead and pass you to your room to your delivery room, and when you get in there, remember to tell your nurse that you want the epidural. And I was like, okay. They went ahead and passed me to the wheelchair, and on my way to the delivery room, I was still having contractions. You know, like my contractions were just getting stronger and stronger. We go to the delivery room, and as soon as I get there, the nurse says, like the nurse that took me from triage to the delivery room, tells my nurse, my delivery nurse, that I wanted the epidural. So she was like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and hook her up to the IV, and once we do that, once we run a course of antibiotics, she can go ahead and get the epidural. So before I even lay down, they were like, do you have to use the restroom? And I was like, yes, please, like I need to use it. And she was like, okay, go ahead. And I remember like I was in a wheelchair, so like I got up, she was like, can you walk? And I was like, I'm fine, I can walk. I went to the restroom, I used the restroom, came back out, and like they helped me get onto the bed. And she was like, okay, we're just gonna hook up your IV, and then, you know, start running the antibiotics for you to get your epidural. She was like, it can take up to an hour and a half at the most to get it. And I was like, okay, I'm totally fine. At this point, my contractions were strong, but I was still able to handle them. Like they were very like painful, but I could still manage them, you know, like the pain was still manageable. So my husband's sitting down, and this girl, like this nurse, is trying to like hook me up to my IV on my left arm, and she tried it. She said blue. She tried again. She couldn't. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to your other hand and try to hook you up there. She comes around to my other hand, and she tried again. She couldn't. But like in between, like her trying to get the IV in my hand, I was having contractions, so I kept telling her to stop. Like I was like, oh, can you give me a minute, please? And like every time I would have a contraction, she would stop, because I asked her to, just to give me a little bit of time to like deal with the contraction, you know. And then the doctor comes in, and she's like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and like see how far along you are. Oh, I totally forgot to mention this. When I was in triage, they did check me, and I was 5 centimeters dilated when I was in triage. I went from a 1 to a 5 in like just a few hours, right? So so the doctor comes in once I'm in the delivery room. She comes in, and she was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and check you to see how far along you are, right? I was like, okay. And then the doctor's like, oh no, like we just checked her and she was a 5. The doctor's like, okay, are you gonna get the epidural? The doctor asked me again, and I said yes. She was like, okay, just once she gets you hooked up to the IV, we're gonna go ahead and run the antibiotics to get you the epidural. She was like, she already ordered it. We're just gonna wait for the anesthesiologist to come and, you know, give it to you. And I was like, okay. At this point, like while the girl is trying to get my IV in on my right arm, I just have the urge to push, and I was like, oh my god, she's coming. Like this were my exact words. I was like, oh my god, she's coming. And the doctor's like, oh, don't worry, honey, she's not coming yet. Like you were only a 5, you're fine. And I was like, no, like she's coming. Like I can feel her. She's coming. I have the urge to push. And they ran out, got the doctor, and the doctor came in really fast. She came, and then she was like, oh, what's going on? And I was like, I have to push. And she was like, no, you don't. She like, they just checked you were a 5. I was like, no, I have to push. So she was like, okay, let me check you. Hold on, let me check you. Keep in mind, this girl, like the nurse, is still trying to put the IV in my arm. So I'm having contractions. She's poking at my arm, like she puts the IV in. She can't get it to go. She pulls it back out. She like pokes me again. And like she was just having a hard time with it, right? And I was in pain from her trying to hook me up to the IV. I was in pain from having the contractions. It was just so painful. So the doctor comes, and she decides she's gonna check me again, right? Because I keep telling her that I have to push. So she gets a glove, she checks me, and she tells me, oh, you're a 7. You're almost there, mama. I was like, okay, like please, like I know this, baby, like I have to push. And she was like, you can't push yet, mom, like you're only a 7, you're not ready. I was like, no, I have to push. This doctor, like she's checking me, and it's just like she's just talking to me with her hands. She's just talking to me with her hands still inside me. And like I'm having a contraction. This girl's poking my arm. The doctor's just like arguing with me, saying that it's not time for me to have the baby yet. when I know it's time for me to push. Like I can feel that I have to push, and her hand's still inside of me. And I just like, I was like, I don't know what came over me. Like I'm not a mean person, and I don't like confrontation, and I don't like to tell people when something's wrong. Like I just keep quiet, you know. And I just told the doctor, like I screamed at her, and I was like, can you please get your hands out of me? And she took her hand out, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And she took her hand out. And then maybe like I want to say not even 5 minutes passed, and I hadn't like I was still having contractions. And a few minutes later, I told her like, please, like I have to push. Like I really need to push. And she's like, Mom, I just checked you. You're only a 7. I was like, no, can you please check me again? And she did. I was a 9 centimeters dilated within a few minutes. And she was like, okay. She was like, well, it looks like you're not gonna be able to get the epidural. We're gonna have to go on natural. I was like, can I get any type of pain medication? She was like, no, Mom, it's too late. You have to push. I was like, okay. She was like, okay, we're gonna start practice pushing. So like they start like setting everything up, and like this girl is still going at it with my arm, like on my arm. She's still going. Here everything is kind of blurry just because I don't like everything happened so fast. I wasn't even in the delivery room for like 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes. You know, like they start setting everything up, and you know it's finally time for me to push, and I start pushing. So I'm just pushing. Sorry, I'm getting a little teary-eyed because this is so emotional for me. But and she finally comes out. She came out. I pushed maybe 5 times, 5, 6 times. Okay, it was the most painful thing that I've been through ever, like completely ever. I had to go on natural. I wasn't planning on it. And she was born. And she was born at 11:35. But you know, at the end, it was all worth it. You know, I got this sweet little girl come out of that, and I wouldn't change shit for the world. Like everything happened so fast, and even though everything happened in the midst of this like pandemic, like she's worth it, and I will go through it a million times just to have her again, you know. But yeah, and then finally after I have my daughter, they pass her to me. They like put her on my chest, and I just kiss her. Like, you know, it was just so emotional. I was crying, of course. Like, who doesn't cry when they have their baby? But I was crying. I was so emotional. And finally, this girl gets this nurse gets the IV on my arm. And finally, after I had the baby, we got to do skin to skin. And like once we did the skin to skin, they went ahead and took her from me to like take her weight and get her cleaned up and everything. And then I want to say we were in that delivery room for about an hour and a half while they got my room ready. Once my room was ready, they transferred us over to postpartum, and to the postpartum floor. And this was actually new to me. I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure they did it because of the COVID-19. They didn't take my daughter away from me for anything. Like my daughter was never in the nursery. She was in my arms at all times. Even like going to our like postpartum room, they helped me get on the wheelchair, and they gave me my daughter in my arms to carry her to the recovery room. She didn't have to go to the nursery for anything, like, which was totally okay with me. Like I'm fine with that. And like we got to the recovery room, they had to do some newborn screens on her. Then like the other nurse was helping me get out of the wheelchair to get onto my bed because I was in so much pain. And the doctors, keep in mind, like I went on natural, right? I wasn't planning on it. And the nurses were also amazed. Like, oh, she was like, oh yeah, this is the girl that like she didn't get any epidural, she didn't get any pain medication, she went all natural. Like it was a big thing, like, you know. And they helped me get into the bed because that was the most painful thing. Just even getting up like was so painful. They helped me onto the bed. They gave me some pain medication, and they actually gave me some morphine in my IV. They were giving me morphine because that's how much pain I was in. The recovery was not easy at all. The recovery was like, it was hard. It was very hard. I was in so much pain the first few days. I couldn't walk. Like if I like try to stand up straight, it hurt so much. Like my back was hurting. Breastfeeding wasn't easy the first few days. My nipples got so sore and cracked, and they were bleeding. It was just so painful. You know, I would go through all of this all over again because I had a beautiful little girl, and I'm gonna go ahead and show her to you guys. Okay, you guys, so this is baby Ariana. Her name is Ariana Jasleen, and she's just a cute little thing. Ain't she so cute? She's smiling, you guys. Ain't she the cutest little girl? Ain't she the cutest little girl? So here she is, you guys. Ariana. Baby Ariana, it's so cute. Yes. You're so cute. Are you cute? Yes, you are. Are you cute? Hi, mamas. Hola, mi amor. Hola, mi amor. Oh my goodness. Oh, excuse me. Ladies, don't do that. So this is baby Ariana, the cute, lovely little baby. And I love her so much. I love her so much with all my heart. She's just so cute, you guys. She is 6 weeks already. She was born on April 24th. Yeah, so the kids had a really easy time actually. Even my almost 2-year-old, she was, you know, at first, the first few days, she was kind of crying and everything. But okay, so it was kind of crazy having to give birth during the pandemic. I'm not gonna lie, it was very crazy. It was very different from, you know, from previous deliveries, obviously. But I'm glad, like, you know, I'm glad she's healthy. We're healthy. My family's healthy. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. As always, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. I am gonna have a new upload schedule. From now on, I'm gonna be doing, starting next week, I'm going to be posting Tuesdays and Thursdays. Not this week. This week I'm gonna do Monday, so today, Wednesday and Friday. There's gonna be a video, and then next week I will start doing uploads every Tuesday and Thursday, so you guys can be on the lookout for those videos. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me